Tonight we bring you breaking news from the world of mixed martial arts. Dakota Ditcheva is ready for a super fight against Valentina Shevchenko, and she's calling it history-making.
Dakota Ditcheva just reminded the MMA world who's queen of the PFL. At PFL Africa, the undefeated British flyweight star extended her record to a flawless 15-0, dominating Sumiko Inaba in Cape Town with a brutal display of Muay Thai. Elbows, knees, and body kicks. She put on a clinic, even while dealing with what she later revealed could be a broken left hand. Despite the injury, Dakota pushed through and earned a lopsided decision, win 30-27, 30-27, and even a 30-24. Pure dominance. But here's the real headline. Dakota has officially re-signed with the PFL. With Kyla Harrison gone to the UFC, Dakota is now the face of the promotion's women's division. And she's not slowing down. She wants to go 30-0, maybe even retire undefeated. She's got her eyes on a stadium fight at Manchester City's Etihad, Pep Guardiola in her corner, and yes, she said that with a straight face. Dakota Ditcheva isn't just chasing belts, she's chasing legacy. Follow MMA Pulse for more on the rise of the PFL's biggest star.
The PFL sensation has just made her highly anticipated return to the octagon after an 8-month layoff, and she's got her sights set on the biggest fight in women's MMA. Stay with us as we break down her dominant performance, her frustrations with finding worthy opponents, and why this potential super fight could change everything. I'm Euster, and this is your MMA update.
The Bullet is the undisputed queen of flyweight MMA.
Let's start with the headline that's got everyone talking. Dakota Ditcheva, the 27-year-old PFL flyweight champion, has officially thrown down the gauntlet for a cross-promotional super fight with UFC legend Valentina Shevchenko.
Good. I mean, I listened to so many people talking throughout this whole tournament. It's nice to...
And she's not wrong about the history part, folks. This would be one of the biggest cross-promotional fights in women's MMA history. Ditcheva has been absolutely dominant in the PFL, while Shevchenko has long been considered the queen of the UFC's flyweight division. But here's the question everyone's asking. Will this fight actually happen? Cross-promotional politics have killed dream matchups before, but with Ditcheva's rising star power and fan demand growing louder, this could be the super fight that finally breaks through.
The planet right now, fantastic strikers, veterans, future legends of the game here.
For sure.
Santos
is in big trouble. She's in big trouble. Dakota Ditcheva to the body again for a championship.
Before we get ahead of ourselves with super fight talk, let's discuss why Ditcheva earned the right to make these callouts. This past weekend in Cape Town, South Africa, she made her long-awaited return to the cage after 8 months away Champion Series. Ditcheva put on what can only be described as a Muay Thai clinic. Round after round, she dominated with crushing knees from the clinch, precise striking, and superior fight IQ.
Against defense with body shots.
Combination again, punching her way out of these clinches.
Inaba not able to match speed on the outside.
Crashing in again.
Oh, beautiful knee.
Oh, the clinch is really working for Ditcheva. She gets the turn, another knee finds its way to the face of Sumiko Inaba, and an elbow from Dakota.
Inaba can't take a lot of those knees.
Round 1 saw Ditcheva establish her clinch game early. Round 2, that's where she really took over, rocking Inaba with a devastating knee that had the crowd on their feet. By round 3, it was complete domination until disaster struck. I think I injured my left hand. I think I'm gutted because I've been out for so long, and then I'm injured again, but I hope you guys enjoyed it, a tearful Ditcheva said after the fight. Despite fighting with what she believed was a broken hand, Ditcheva never looked in real danger, extending her perfect record to 15-0. But this injury concern adds another layer to her already complicated situation.
Dakota Ditcheva just reminded the MMA world who's queen of the PFL. At PFL Africa, the undefeated British flyweight star extended her record to a flawless 15-0, dominating Sumiko Inaba in Cape Town with a brutal display of Muay Thai. Elbows, knees, and body kicks. She put on a clinic, even while dealing with what she later revealed could be a broken left hand. Despite the injury, Dakota pushed through and earned a lopsided decision, win 30-27, 30-27, and even a 30-24. Pure dominance. But here's the real headline. Dakota has officially re-signed with the PFL. With Kyla Harrison gone to the UFC, Dakota is now the face of the promotion's women's division. And she's not slowing down. She wants to go 30-0, maybe even retire undefeated. She's got her eyes on a stadium fight at Manchester City's Etihad, Pep Guardiola in her corner, and yes, she said that with a straight face. Dakota Ditcheva isn't just chasing belts, she's chasing legacy. Follow MMA Pulse for more on the rise of the PFL's biggest star.
Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, Dakota Ditcheva's 8-month layoff. This wasn't by choice, folks. The harsh reality? She ran out of challengers. After absolutely demolishing the PFL flyweight tournament in 2024, 4 straight stoppages including victories over Chelsea Hackett, Jenna Bishop, and former UFC contender Taylor Santos in the final, Ditcheva found herself in an unusual position for a world champion.
Against defense with body shots.
Combination again, punching her way out of these clinches.
Inaba not able to match speed on the outside.
Crashing in again.
A beautiful knee.
Oh, the clinch is really working for Ditcheva. She gets the turn, and the knee finds its way to the face of Inaba, and an elbow from Dakota.
Inaba can't take a lot of those knees.
Obviously, with me walking through them last year, it's made it difficult, Ditcheva explained. Santos was the top girl in the division, and the fact I walk through her so easily is another thing which made this year so difficult. Think about this. She knocked out Jenna Bishop in the first round last August. This year, Bishop made it to the flyweight tournament finals. That's the level of competition Ditcheva has already surpassed. But here's the kicker. She's locked into a PFL contract, so she can't just jump ship to find better competition. It's a champion's problem that most fighters would love to have, but it's a real problem nonetheless. The good news? Ditcheva just re-signed with PFL, and they're committed to finding her the fights she deserves. As she told the incredible Cape Town crowd, "I have just re-signed with PFL. We've come to a great agreement, and I'm going to look forward to the next few years together." So where does Dakota Ditcheva go from here? At just 27 years old, she's entering her prime with nowhere to go but up, literally. The superfight with Shevchenko remains the dream scenario, but realistically, Ditcheva might need to consider moving up in weight. The bantamweight division offers fresh challenges and bigger names. Speaking of big names, it's worth noting that legends like Amanda Nunes, Chris Cyborg, and Joanna Jedrzejczyk all congratulated Ditcheva after her world title win. That's the respect she's already earned from the sport's elite. The MMA community is taking notice. Her striking is elite level, her finishing ability is undeniable, and she's got the personality to carry major fights. The question isn't whether she deserves big fights, it's whether the politics of the sport will allow them to happen. First things first though, she needs that hand to heal. Fighting through injury shows heart, but staying healthy is crucial for a fighter with her potential. Dakota Ditcheva's story is far from over. At 15-0 with 12 knockouts, she's proven she's ready for the biggest fights in women's MMA. Whether that's Valentina Shevchenko, a move up to bantamweight, or defending her flyweight crown against new challengers, one thing is certain, the MMA world is watching. Make sure to follow us on Twitter, your handle, for more breaking MMA news and analysis. What do you think? Should the UFC make the Shevchenko super fight happen? Let us know in the comments.
For me, there's a first place, and then everyone else lost. For me, that's my mindset. I want to finish 30-0, 60-0. It's been done. Like, you don't have to lose. I just take things one at a time. You know, I've done that my whole career. I've never looked like too far ahead. Once I get in that cage, there's just a switch that happens. Every opponent I fight will try to strike and then try and take me down.
The damage so far in this fight, it's been one-way traffic.
Oh, nasty knee right the middle from Dakota. And a flurry down to the body. Here's the elbow.
Dakota Ditcheva, the 26-year-old English phenom, has just extended her perfect professional record to 15-0 with a dominant unanimous decision victory over Sumiko Inaba at PFL Africa in Cape Town, South Africa. But that's not the story everyone's talking about tonight.
I mean, I have just re-signed with PFL. We've come to a great agreement, and I'm going to look forward to the next few years together, so hopefully we can carry on.
In a post-fight announcement that caught the entire MMA world off guard, Ditcheva revealed she has re-signed with the Professional Fighters League, a decision that has left fans stunned and asking one crucial question: why would the most sought-after female fighter outside the UFC choose to stay put? The answer, as you'll hear tonight, will absolutely leave you speechless.
They do see me as the top girl in PFL, especially now I've beat Santos. You know, everyone thought she beat UFC world champion Valentina, so everyone's kind of a little bit like, before that fight, it was like, how good is really Dakota? You know, like, she's not fought anyone type thing. And then when I beat her, now it's like, oh, well, who are you going to give her now?
Sit up, yeah.
Let's start with what happened inside the cage at PFL Africa. Dakota Ditcheva entered this fight after an 8-month layoff, the longest period of inactivity since joining the PFL. Facing Bellator veteran Sumiko Inaba, who came in with an 8-1 record, Ditcheva was looking to maintain her perfect finishing streak.
She's the face of PFL. If I take out the face of PFL, am I the face of PFL?
What we witnessed was nothing short of a Muay Thai masterclass. Ditcheva dominated all 3 rounds with her signature 8-limbed attack, utilizing devastating knees, sharp elbows, and precise striking combinations. The judges scored it 30-27 across the board, with one judge even giving it 30-24. However, there was a bittersweet element to this victory. For the first time since March 2022, Ditcheva was pushed to a decision, ending her incredible 9-fight finishing streak. But perhaps more concerning was what happened post-fight.
Oh, Dakota Ditcheva with the finish!
In an emotional moment that showed her vulnerability, Ditcheva broke down in tears during her interview, revealing she had suffered a hand injury during the bout. "I think I've injured my left hand," she said through tears. "I'm more gutted because I've been out for so long, and I've come back and I'm injured again."
Yeah, I think I've injured my left hand, but I think I'm just more gutted because I've been out for so long, and then I've come back and I'm injured.
Despite the injury concern, Ditcheva's performance was dominant from start to finish, cementing her status as one of the most technically proficient strikers in women's MMA today. But then came the announcement that nobody saw coming. Standing in the cage with her hand potentially injured and emotions running high, Dakota Ditcheva dropped a bombshell that sent the MMA community into a frenzy. "I have just re-signed with PFL," Ditcheva announced to the stunned crowd. "We've come to a great agreement, and I'm going to look forward to the next few years together."
I mean, I have just re-signed with PFL. We've come to a great agreement, and I'm going to look forward to the next few years together, so hopefully we can carry on bringing crowds like this, because you guys really set a standard, so congratulations, guys.
To understand why this is so shocking, you need to know the context. After Ditcheva's dominant 2024 campaign, where she went 4-0 with 4 knockouts and captured the PFL Flyweight Championship, she was widely regarded as the best female fighter not competing in the UFC. Fans had been fantasy matchmaking her with UFC stars like Valentina Shevchenko, Alexa Grasso, and Natalia Silva for months.
Another one!
Bringing out something ancient and primal within us.
Dakota right hand in the head!
The UFC had taken notice too. In a recent interview, Ditcheva revealed something that will blow your mind. "I heard a rumor that has already been asked for, and it was declined." She was referring to a trade offer. The UFC had proposed trading for her services, and the PFL turned them down flat. When pressed about why the trade fell apart, Ditcheva's response was telling. "I mean, would PFL want to let me go?"
They always shock us with like the most daftest matches. Like, of all matches you think we could possibly lose, they always lose to the other ones.
Oh yeah, Crystal Palace FA Cup final. I mean, who could forget? We needed that one, by the way. I was rooting for Man City because if you guys would have won, that meant Forest gets Europa League, and now Crystal Palace wins somehow. I have no idea, shockingly. So then Palace got Europa League, and then we get Conference League, which is the shite one. But now something happened with some emails with Crystal Palace, and now they got dropped down and we got...
This puts everything into perspective. The UFC, the biggest MMA promotion in the world, wanted Dakota Ditcheva so badly they were willing to trade for her, just like they did when they sent Demetrius Johnson to one championship for Ben Askren back in 2018. Now here's where the story gets even more interesting, and why Ditcheva's decision might be more brilliant than anyone initially realized. In a detailed interview about her contract negotiations, Ditcheva revealed the real reason it took so long to re-sign, and it had nothing to do with money. I know what I've brought to the table for the last 2 years. I stuck to everything that I said I was going to do. I won everything, she explained.
Because like you just said, I know what I've brought to the table for the last 2 years. I stuck to everything that I said I was going to do. I won everything.
But here's the kicker. Ditcheva wasn't just negotiating for more money. She was negotiating for something much more valuable. Guaranteed activity. I wasn't going to settle, she said. I'm not okay with sitting out for 8 months, and I'm not okay with sitting out for longer. The contract she eventually signed includes specific activity clauses that are almost unheard of in MMA. I have dates in there now. I've got time limits where they need to keep me active, Ditcheva revealed. This means the PFL is contractually obligated to book her fights within specific time frames.
I think it's difficult, I haven't really seen where the division's going. I want to be somewhere that's active, and when you keep me out for 8 months, you're not giving me any confidence for me to be active. I'm not okay with sitting out for 8 months, and I'm not okay for sitting out for longer. So I had to kind of sit down and get a plan with them and know that I'm going to be fighting and I'm not going to be out for another 8 months, which is now part of my contract. I have dates in there now. I've got time limits where they need to keep me active.
The deal runs until 2027. And when asked about the exact terms, Ditcheva confirmed, I have an agreement in there where they have to give me a certain number of fights in a certain amount of time.
A bit of both. A bit of both. I have an agreement in there where they have to give me a certain amount of fights in a certain amount of time.
Think about this. She essentially negotiated a contract that forces the PFL to keep her busy, addressing the exact problem that frustrated her and fans for the past year. That's not just smart business. That's revolutionary contract negotiation in MMA. So why would a 26-year-old fighter at the peak of her powers, with the UFC literally trying to trade for her, choose to stay with the PFL? Ditcheva's reasoning reveals a level of strategic thinking that's rare in combat sports. I don't feel like my time's done with PFL yet, she explained. I enjoyed the last 2 years, and I feel like they brought a lot of different opportunities. But perhaps most importantly, she hinted at something that could change everything. They're not super strict on where I fight and what I do type thing, so feel like there's a lot of different opportunities that could come together with them.
I don't feel like my time's done with PFL yet. I really enjoyed the last 2 years, and I was happy to be able to come to the a good agreement with them, and I feel like they bring a lot of different opportunities. There's different avenues that I could go down still with them. I'm not going to say too much, but they're not super strict on where I fight and what I do type thing. So I feel like there's a lot of different opportunities that could come together with.
This suggests the PFL might be open to cross-promotional fights or special arrangements that the UFC typically wouldn't allow. Could we see Ditcheva face UFC fighters in special events? The possibility is tantalizing. And then there's the age factor. I'm 27 on Friday, so I've got so many years left, Ditcheva noted. You don't normally see champions at the top of their game until they are 31 or 32.
For me, I'm 27 on Friday, so I've got so many years left. And you are right, everyone does comment on all my stuff now. I saw a few things on the internet after I announced it after the fight. They were like, you just broke everybody's hearts. And I was like, guys, as long as I'm fighting, don't worry about it.
Her strategy is clear. Dominate the PFL division, potentially engage in cross-promotional super fights, and then still have the option to move to the UFC in her prime years. It's a calculated gamble that could pay off massively. But here's where the story takes another incredible turn. During her contract negotiations interview, Ditcheva was asked directly about fighting UFC champions, and her response will give you chills. When asked if she wanted to fight the winner of Valentina Shevchenko versus Zhang Weili, Ditcheva didn't hesitate. I mean, if they want to do PFL champ versus UFC champ, then I'm happy to do it. That would be the biggest fight, right? That would be the one.
I mean, if they want to do PFL, I'm not really PFL champ, but if they want to do PFL champ versus UFC champ, then I'm happy to do it.
Okay, this is that would be the biggest fight, right?
Think about what she just said. She's essentially calling out the entire UFC flyweight division while under PFL contract. And given her contract's apparent flexibility, this might not be as impossible as it sounds. The interviewer even suggested that anything could happen in the next 2 years, referencing how the UFC appeared at the White House and previously traded with other promotions. Ditcheva's response? I mean, anything's possible. This isn't just confidence. This is a fighter positioning herself for super fights that could transcend promotional boundaries. She's essentially created a scenario where she can build her brand and legacy with the PFL while keeping the door open for the biggest fights in the sport. Ditcheva's decision represents something bigger than just one fighter's career choice. It's a statement about the changing landscape of MMA, where fighters are taking more control of their destinies. As long as I'm fighting, don't worry about it, she told disappointed fans who wanted to see her in the UFC. And that's exactly the point. She's prioritized staying active and building her legacy over the prestige of UFC gold.
And I was like, guys, as long as I'm fighting, like, don't worry about it.
For the PFL, this is massive. They've managed to keep their biggest star despite direct interest from the UFC. But now the pressure is on them to deliver on their promises of keeping her active and providing compelling matchups. I just secured my future for me and my family over the next few years, Ditcheva said, and you can hear the satisfaction in her voice. She's turned down the immediate glory of UFC competition for long-term security and strategic positioning. Dakota Ditcheva's decision to re-sign with the PFL might have shocked the MMA world, but when you break down the reasoning, it's actually brilliant. She's negotiated guaranteed activity, maintained flexibility for potential super fights, secured her financial future, and positioned herself to potentially move to the UFC while still in her prime. At just 26 years old, with a perfect 15-0 record, Ditcheva has proven she's not just a phenomenal fighter. She's a savvy businesswoman who's playing chess while everyone else is playing checkers. The question now isn't whether she made the right choice, but whether the rest of the MMA world can keep up with Dakota Ditcheva's master plan. That's all for tonight's breaking news coverage. Stay tuned as this story continues to develop.
I make my sacrifices, but she also makes hers, and we all got to kind of like work together to try and achieve. I know how good she is, and I fully back that she'll go to the top, and she'll be, a legend in the sport. So I'm going to try and help every step of the way.
There's that knee up the middle. That one hurts on the side. Digging deep for sure. Santos is in big trouble. She's in big trouble. Dakota Ditcheva to the body again for a championship.
Dakota Ditcheva's brother has sent a clear warning message to Sumiko Inaba, stating, I make my sacrifices, but she also makes hers, and we all gotta kind of like work together to try and achieve. I know how good she is, and I fully back that she'll go to the top and she'll be, a legend in the sport. So I'm going to try and help her every step of the way. But don't mistake that support for weakness. This fight is about to be absolute fireworks. Let's break down everything you need to know about this explosive co-main event.
I'm happy to be back. I'm excited to get in the cage now and showcase my skills again. I'm ready to go, and I'm going to bring a whole new Dakota for sure.
What am I the most proud of in my career? I think just making it this far.
TKO for Lady Samurai.
I'm just like a little island girl that's only dreamed of ever even stepping off the island, let alone fighting all around the world, and now fighting one of the best in the world.
Dakota Ditcheva for a championship.
Tamika is a really exciting challenge. She's not a mug. She's 8-1, and I know that she's going to come to fight.
Beautiful knee. And that does it. First round finish.
She hasn't been hit hard. I've been hit hard, and I still keep coming.
On July 19th, PFL Cape Town will make history as the first ever PFL Africa event. And what better way to launch than with a striker's paradise in the co-main event? We've got Sumiko Inaba, the 34-year-old Bellator veteran with an 8-1 record, stepping up to face the undefeated phenom Dakota Ditcheva at 14-0. This isn't just any fight, folks. Ditcheva hasn't just won all 9 of her PFL fights. She's finished every single one before the final bell. That's the kind of finishing power that has made her the face of the PFL women's flyweight division and the 2024 World Tournament champion.
Plum and a right hand. Oh, another one. Big one. Dakota Ditcheva, right hand and a hand of fake. Another knockout for Dakota Ditcheva.
But here's where it gets interesting. Inaba isn't running from this challenge. In fact, she says she manifested this fight. I got the call while I was training in San Diego, Inaba revealed, and I heard an interview where she was talking about being active but not knowing who she was going to fight. That's when I thought, why not give her my name? And then I got the call shortly after. The stars aligned, and now we have what could be the most explosive women's flyweight bout of the year.
Oh boy! Head kick! You'll see Dakota Ditcheva against Sumiko Inaba.
We'll see who hits harder.
The TKO for Lady Samurai.
She's no walkover, but I don't think she's on my level.
Dakota Ditcheva silences the doubters.
Let's talk about what makes this matchup so compelling. Dakota Ditcheva, at just 26 years old, has been described as a rising star and undeniable star since arriving in PFL Europe. She's not just winning fights, she's demolishing opponents with her striking prowess. But Sumiko Inaba isn't your typical challenger. At 34, she brings something Dakota hasn't faced yet, a striker willing to meet her in the middle. More experience in life? Yes, definitely, Inaba says when asked about the age difference. Experience in fighting? She's been doing it since she was little, for a very long time, but I think I have more experience than her.
Position is an accomplishment for me. Being able to test myself at the highest level, this is an accomplishment to experience all of this.
Those are big shots.
Here's what makes Inaba dangerous. While most fighters have tried to take Ditcheva down and avoid her striking, Inaba is planning to do the complete opposite. I think that striker for striker, no one's really stood toe-to-toe with her, Inaba explained. Everybody's tried to take her down and go around her way of fighting, but I'm going to bring my fight to this fight, and I think that that's going to be the difference.
I'm definitely a striker. I'd say a boxer, puncher. When I watch Dakota, I see a very dangerous striker as well.
Fighting out of the wide. Oh, what a knockout! Sumiko Inaba!
We're going to see whose skill beats who. She's going to be surprised when I hit her the first time, too. I don't think she's been hit. Like, she hasn't been hit hard. I've been hit hard, and I still keep coming.
Big overhand right.
Expect fireworks, and you won't be disappointed on July 19th.
This is a woman who's coming off a second-round TKO victory over Mackenzie Stiller and has 8 of her 9 career fights in Bellator. She knows what it takes to perform on the big stage. The respect between these fighters is undeniable, but make no mistake, this is the biggest opportunity of Inaba's career. Beating her would be a huge jump in my career, she admits. I thought, why not test myself? This is the highest level. I will never know my skill unless I test it.
It's a good matchup. I've seen her before. She's a really nice girl. She's always super smiley. She's like super pretty and just a really nice girl. So if she stays the way she is, there's going to be nothing to say beforehand. Just sorry afterwards.
Inaba, what kind of problems does she pose for you?
None. I feel like one thing I will say is these girls are going to be most dangerous now because they have nothing to lose. Like they're coming to take everything I have. You know, I won the tournament last year. Inaba, Sumiko, she's 8-1, I think. She's no more, like she knows what she's doing. She's been around, she's experienced, and I know that she's going to come and give everything she's got, but she's no problem for me.
And that respect goes both ways. Inaba was actually a fan of Ditcheva before becoming her opponent. It's huge what she's doing in the PFL, Inaba said. I was a fan of hers before I was an opponent, so I love what she's doing. Anything that pushes women's MMA, I'm all for, and she's a huge face of the PFL. But when it comes to predictions, Inaba keeps it simple. I'm so terrible at that. I just go in there, I fight my fight, and the result comes out.
Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like some fighters have that and some don't. Family are very like, we're all humble about it and we all remind ourselves all the time, like you wouldn't have anything else if you didn't have the fighting. So make sure that's always like the first thing. Make sure you're still in the gym, you're still training hard, and then you can enjoy everything else that comes with it. But that fighting is like still the most important part and will always be. As soon as you stop fighting, this could possibly all kind of just go. My mum's always been super aggressive when she was fighting, so I definitely get it from her fighting gene. Literally a 1% of fighters that have that like killer instinct. I'm always addicted to like things that challenge me. You know, I don't want anything easy.
I don't hear a lot of fighters calling you out.
No.
Do you?
No, you hear them like shit talking, but that's about it. That's just to stay relevant, isn't it? But nobody actually like calls me out these days, especially not after I won the tournament last year. Everyone's gone quiet. They were all celebrating because I wasn't in the season this year.
Yeah, I know.
The strategy is clear, though. Both women are elite strikers, and Inaba believes this will be a stand-up war. Totoe, there's going to be fireworks. We are going to exchange. We're both mixed martial artists, and I think just based off history, we'll meet in the middle and just go exchange. For Ditcheva, this represents her first defense since winning the 2024 PFL Women's Flyweight Championship. For Inaba, it's her chance to prove she belongs at the very top of the division.
MMA, this girl's a demon. They say she's the next Ronda Rousey. Check it out.
She's hurt to the body. That's it. Rich Mitchell waves it on. That's a TKO victory. And that does it. Dakota Ditcheva silences the doubters.
Let's go. Give it up. Please welcome the undefeated PFL Women's Flyweight 13-0 dangerous Dakota Ditcheva. Hello, 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 hello. So she won the PFL European title last year, and in just a few weeks ago qualified to fight for the PFL global title and $1 million in November. If and when you win the $1 million, do you have something that you want to buy?
Not really, no. I just want the belt, if I'm honest, Jake.
Let's go. I respect that. Now, some people compare you to Ronda Rousey, Holly Holm. Who would win, Prime Ronda or Prime Dakota?
Prime Dakota, 100%.
Let's go. You heard it.
Jake Paul has issued a clear warning message, while UFC veteran Dan Hardy makes an explosive claim. $1 million, 0 cents winning Dakota Ditcheva has eclipsed Ronda Rousey's skill set. She could beat anybody.
Ronda was the one that broke the barrier and got women into the UFC.
Dana White privilege. Dakota Ditcheva has been talked about in the same breath as Ronda Rousey.
She has the potential to be a superstar. She understands the media game, right? She knows exactly when to switch off that savage and become the sweetheart again. She's got the look, she's got the charisma, and when you have that, plus the ability to knock women out like she does, the sky's the limit.
Tonight, we examine whether a 26-year-old British fighter could be the next face of women's mixed martial arts, and why experts believe she's already surpassed one of the sport's greatest pioneers.
Dakota Ditcheva wanted to join the global season, wanted to step up in competition, prove herself at the highest level.
There's no limit to how high I'm going to go.
Dakota Ditcheva has just made history, capturing the PFL Flyweight Championship and walking away with a life-changing $1 million prize. But it's not just the money that has the MMA world talking, it's how she did it. I could make the argument right now that she could beat anybody in this weight class on the planet.
Its high knees could put anybody away. And she's also got the frame that's perfect for this weight class. You know, I could make an argument right now that she'd beat anybody in this weight class on the planet.
Those are the words of UFC legend Dan Hardy, who believes Ditcheva has something that even Ronda Rousey never possessed: complete dominance across all aspects of MMA. The 26-year-old Manchester native demolished former UFC title challenger Taila Santos in devastating fashion, a fighter who had previously given all-time great Valentina Shevchenko serious problems. Ditcheva made it look effortless, finishing Santos in under 2 rounds.
Another knockout for Dakota Ditcheva. Just nasty stuff with the clinch.
Using that elbow to frame her out and keep distance where she can create some space and let her hands go in this clinch range.
Yeah, Bear's looking out of her element here. She's hurt to the body. That's it. The end of the fight. Rich Mitchell waves it off the knee. Dakota kept the proper range. Had some great kicks. There's one going upstairs. Landed right on the neck, Muay Thai style.
With a perfect 14-0 record and a trail of devastated opponents behind her, Ditcheva isn't just winning, she's obliterating the competition.
In the next 10 years, if there's a woman in the octagon, it's probably going to be Ronda Rousey.
The comparisons to Ronda Rousey are inevitable. Both are blonde, both finish fights, and both have that rare star quality that transcends the sport. But according to Dan Hardy, that's where the similarities end. Rondi was a pioneer in martial arts, women's martial arts in particular, but the reason why she was so effective is because she was particularly overwhelming in one range. She came in, she grabbed a hold of somebody, threw them to the floor, and wrenched their arm off.
And, you know, Ronda was a pioneer in mixed martial arts, women's mixed martial arts in particular. But the reason why she was so effective is because she was particularly overwhelming in one range, right? Like, she came in, she grabbed a hold of somebody, she threw them to the floor and wrenched their arm off.
Rousey dominated through her Olympic-level judo, securing 9 of her 12 wins by armbar submission.